On June 29, 2020, the Indian government banned 59 apps developed by Chinese firms over concerns that these apps were engaging in activities that threatened national security and defense of India, which ultimately impinges upon the sovereignty and integrity of India. But is that the only reason why these apps were banned in the second largest internet market, which has nearly half of its 1.3 billion population online? To know the exact details, without any further delay, let's start today's episode. Hello aspiring Sarvajnanis, welcome to my channel. This video explains about why the 59 Chinese based apps are banned in India, what kind of security threats can those apps have, and what can this lead to. India-China border clash. For decades, India and China have been arguing over the shared border which stretches 3,440 kilometers, that is 2,100 miles, in the high altitude, largely uninhabited areas of the Himalayas. With numerous pacts between the nations, things are peaceful for many decades, as both the nations agreed to not use any military weapons along the line of actual control (LAC). However, tension built up in the last few months over a new road India built in Ladakh along the line of actual control which divides the sides. That angered China, which deployed troops and built infrastructure of its own in disputed territory, bringing the two sides' forces in closer proximity and heightening the risk of clashes. On the late evening and night of June 15, 2020, 20 Indian soldiers were killed during hand-to-hand fighting with Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley of the Himalayan region. China didn't officially announce the death count of their soldiers, but confirmed that there were casualties on both sides. This incident resulted in many protests, where the protesters burnt posters of Chinese President Jinping and China-made goods. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the soldiers killed in the clashes and said, "Their sacrifices won't go in vain. For us, the unity and sovereignty of the country is the most important thing. India wants peace, but when provoked, it is capable of giving a befitting reply." Military action held obvious risks, including a dangerous escalation between the two nuclear-armed nations, as the war would be catastrophic with the advanced military equipment possessed by the top two most populated nations of the world. Some called for an economic boycott instead, urging ordinary Indians and companies to boycott Chinese goods and destroy their economy. Protecting Indian data to leak to Chinese government. With the high tension between the two nations, Indian government doesn't want to take risk with the security of their people. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology said that it received many complaints about mobile apps available on both iOS and Android platforms that have been accused of stealing and surreptitiously transmitting users' data in an unauthorized manner to servers which have locations outside India. For example, UC browser can control what the user can see by showing only the results that favor their nation through their algorithms. Voyager InfoSec, a digital lab, found 30,000 clips in TikTok targeted against a particular community, which could have led to sectarian violence. Intelligence agencies have reportedly advised the Indian central government to either ban the Chinese apps in India or recommend people to avoid their use. Security concerns clubbed with the growing India-China tension and the need to go for made-in-India products and services finally led to a ban on popular Chinese apps in the country. What will happen next? Out of 112 million downloads of that app in May throughout the world, 20% are in India, and it is TikTok's biggest international market. Even though TikTok India is optimistic to meet the security guidelines of India and submit clarifications and continue its business in Indian market, analysts estimate that ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok and Hello Apps, could lose up to $6 billion. Even though the impact is not so high on the other 57 apps, still the losses suffered by those China-based companies by losing Indian audience is significant and can have a drastic effect on the Chinese economy. This move has dealt a severe blow to the confidence of Chinese investors and traders. Things aren't very different in the US after the US-China trade war. There are at least two bills pending in the US Congress to ban federal government officials from using TikTok on their cell phones, reflecting such a sentiment can gain momentum in the US after India's decision. If the United States also ban these apps, then the impact on the Chinese economy would have drastic consequences. Just days after banning the 59 apps, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said the government will ensure that the Chinese investors are not entertained in various sectors like micro, small, and medium enterprises (MSMEs). We will not give permission to joint ventures that have Chinese partners for road construction. We have taken a firm stand that if they come via joint venture in our country, we will not allow it, Gadkari told in an interview. Government is encouraging the apps that are built in India and their own investors now in all public and private projects and ventures. All these measures taken by Indian government gives a strong message to boycott Chinese apps, products and investors and build India's own economy through Make in India movement. And now the fact of the day. China is the world's second largest economy and the largest exporter by value, and has also been investing in overseas infrastructure and development at a rapid clip as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. China's investments in other countries is largely perceived as positive in emerging economies. But even in the nations that welcome China's economic growth, questions rise in its growing military strength. Most tend to view China's growing military as something bad for their own countries, especially by its neighboring countries in Southeast Asia.